I've just come back from Ibiza. Now, before you say, oh, you're jet setting around the Mediterranean, I want to tell you, my daughter paid for the flight. I've been to Ibiza before, but you know what? This time I saw it completely differently. Maybe because now I'm older, or maybe because now wherever I go, I'm doing retirement mathematics, not normal maths, retirement mathematicals, pension maths. How much is the coffee? How much are the groceries? Could I survive here on my pension? That sort of thing. Because, Ibiza confused me a little bit because everybody talks about the clubs. So many nightclubs. And if anyone tells me that about Ibiza again, nightclubs, I'm going to have to throw my flip-flop. Yes, there are clubs. There are young people. Yes, people are partying. But that's not what I kept noticing. What I kept seeing were villages, tiny villages with real life in them. Little supermarkets, little cafes, people sitting outside, talking, real conversations, not looking at their phones. And I kept thinking, why do our villages in Austria seem to be dying while these villages are still ticking along quite happily? Then there was the price of coffee. €1.20. €1.20 for a cup of coffee. I haven't seen coffee for that price in Austria forever. And before anybody tells me Ibiza is expensive, it is, especially if you have to pay accommodation. Those rents are very expensive. But I tell you what, if I could have accommodation, like if I could own a house there or somebody magically just gave me the keys to a little apartment, you know what? I could live there on my small pension of €1,229 a month. Because the food doesn't have to be expensive if you eat in restaurants where the local people eat, which is what I did because my daughter knows her way around. But I also have to tell you, my daughter decided I needed exercises. And you know what younger people call a short little walk? Well, those are different to what I think. She dragged me up a hill in the sun, no shade. At several points, I was actually happy to just wait and admire the view from where I already was. But no, she egged me on, and so up and up we went. And suddenly there it was, Es Vedrà, that famous rock sticking out of the sea. One people become completely obsessed with, and I understand it. It keeps supposedly calling the people back to Ibiza. But I do know that when I saw it, I stopped complaining about that hill. The view was ridiculously beautiful. Then those beautiful hippie markets, the Punta Arabí hippie market, the market at the old Hippodrome. And what struck me wasn't the shopping, it was the old hippies, the people my age. They were there. They're everywhere. People my age, they are everywhere, or even older than me. They are the people that grounded Ibiza, I'm sure, dancing. dancing, listening to music, wearing whatever they feel like wearing. Nobody seems remotely interested in growing old gracefully, which suits me perfectly. Graceful is overrated. I went to Las Dalias. Deep house music, open air, loads of people my age, a fabulous atmosphere. And best of all, it started at 7 p.m. and ended at 11 p.m. Who invented that party deserves a medal. By 11, I was heading back to the car feeling perfectly safe. And that is something else I noticed. You know that I love South Africa. Piece of my heart will always live there. But walking through a dark parking lot without giving it a second thought is not something I take for granted. I also spent some time in Sant Carles and stopped at Bar Anita, one of those classic places that feels as if it had the island stories passed through it at some point. You can still feel that old hippie spirit in Ibiza, not fake hippies, the original lot, the people who came looking for freedom and somehow never left. And perhaps that's what I kept bumping into all over the island. Freedom, freedom to be odd, freedom to be older, freedom just not to care, freedom not to mow every square meter of grass. Seriously, what's with us and mowing? Here in Austria, we mow everything. Well, I don't include myself. But if a tree leans slightly, somebody arrives with a chainsaw. In Ibiza, the trees seem to do whatever they want. Some of them look as if they've had one too many sangrias and nobody appears bothered. I really like that. So would I move there? If somebody handed me a little apartment, rent-free, I'd probably be packing before I finished this sentence. Will it happen? Probably not. South Africa still has its claws in me. I still want to spend time there every year I can. It's just home. And besides, I've got family here, and that is where home is. But Ibiza did leave me with a thought, not about holidays, not about clubs, not about beaches, about aging, because there are two ways to get older. You can slowly make your world very smaller, or you can keep saying yes when your daughter drags you up a hill you don't want to climb. So, thank you for spending this time with me. If you like this video, then you know what to do. You give it a thumbs up, and a subscription will be very, very welcome.